Hang on a second. Welcome to Black and Blue Garage. This is my 2015 Hyundai stupid accent, stupid car, okay? You hear it tapping? That's not good. This has one of those famous Hyundai engines, the 1.6 G4FD naturally aspirated engines that is notorious for consuming oil after like 2 miles. Well, 120,000 miles or something like that. It was consuming about a quart of oil for every, I would say, less than 1,000 miles. Which is, according to the internets, a significant amount of oil consumption. But, admittedly, that's not what killed this engine. What killed this engine was me not doing this. And unfortunately, I got a little bit lazy for a couple of weeks and I didn't do this. And the oil got a little low. I jumped on the highway and the engine died because it had low oil. Now, it's tapping and it's my fault. But I'm still angry. I'm still angry because these GDI engines, you know, however they're designing their pistons and their cylinder heads with the fuel going into the wrong spot just to get a little bit more gas mileage out of it. It's no good. It consumes oil and now I've got to go to work. And unfortunately, I would love to do some off-roading stuff, do the suspension on that go-kart outside, but this is my daily driver. My rock crawlers, my go-kart, the Jeep Comanche, the Chevoo, and all my other prospects and projects for off-road that everybody seems to love. I would much rather be doing that stuff. But this thing, and since I need to make some content, this is what we're getting today. So in this video, I'm just gonna take this stupid engine out of this stupid car because it's cheaper for me to build this engine or rebuild this engine than it is to buy a new car right now. And since I've got a summer project that I have to finish by September so that I could go drive it, make sure it's not going to implode, I'm just going to rebuild this thing and it's going to cost me probably less than $400. I wish it wasn't so windy. Unbelievable. This happens to me every single time I try to film outside. The stupid wind blows across my stupid shotgun mic and then my audio gets all stupid. So anyways, there's way better videos on taking this engine even out of this specific car and to the exact year. And so I'm not going to go through all the details of showing you step-by-step stuff. If you want that stuff, maybe I'll link some videos down below, or just search 2015, or actually any 2012 to 2019 would work. For several cars, they used this engine in all the small cars, and they used the 2-liter and the 2.4-liter Hyundai engines for all the bigger cars, and they all sucked. Drain the stupid coolant and the stupid oil, and start disconnecting all these stupid electrical harnesses. These stupid. I probably should take some stupid pictures of this stupid engine so I know where the stupid plugs go back in. I'm gonna need some like stupid tools. I'm gonna be giving some tips about mechanicking, because you already know how to take this engine out of this car because you've watched other videos that are better than mine. So I'm going to give you, as I go throughout the day, some tips. You take bolts out and you remove a part. Take the bolts and put them back where you got them from. And that way, when this thing goes back together, you won't have to guess which bolts went where. I need to remove all this stuff to get down to the transmission, unfortunately, which is stupid. Yeah, that's broken, so it looks like I'm going to be building a fuel line for this thing, which is not what I wanted to do. No smoking. Part of the problem here, okay, if if you can get the exposure right, is right down there. Like, that is super dirty, and you can't really see at this angle. But basically, the PCV system on this, because it's, you know, government EPA rated or whatever, lets all the oil come through, and it's a brand new PCV valve. The old one was good. I tested it. All the oil and the fumes from the engine baking itself to oblivion have all those stupid fumes go back into the intake, and then goes back into the intake manifold, which is this plastic deal right here. And then that goes into, you know, like on top of the valves as they open and close and allow, you know, air to come in. And air is the only thing that goes through there, because they didn't put the fuel injectors in the plastic manifold because it's plastic, or because, you know, you get half a mile, or you get half a mile per gallon more by port injecting the injectors. But then you don't have fuel going over the top side of your valves, and then it gunks up, and then they stick open. And that's just one of the issues that make this particular engine amazing. And to be honest with you, the design, like, I've been researching the design of this particular engine, and everything about this engine is just brilliant. It's simple. It works great. You can get 40 miles to the gallon. 38 if you put the injectors in the right spot. But the only problem is that it's GDI. It's gas direct injected right into the cylinders underneath the valves. And so there's nothing to keep this engine clean. Like, why did you do that? That's dumb. Anyway, I want to come back with that. Now the battery. Bump test, a little bit more convenient to work on. It's like work on height right there. Say that now, who knows? I would gladly trade a little bit of gas mileage for reliability. But I get why they do it. I mean, if you could put on the sticker at the dealership that you're getting anywhere from 35 to 42 miles to the gallon combined, you're gonna sell a lot of cars. All right. Ugh. So if I rebuild this engine and the cheap Amazon rebuild kit doesn't work out, or I do something wrong, or I put it together wrong and the whole thing blows up, I could buy a whole new engine for $2,000 and probably get, you know, $3,000 or $4,000 for this car. The seats are nice. They've been covered. It's got a dash cover. So it's relatively really nice inside. With a new engine, I could still probably get $2,000 out of it. All right, I disconnected everything out of the engine. It took me about 2 hours, maybe 2 hours, 15 minutes. But it's all disconnected, as far as I know. There's plugs all over it. The exhaust manifold in the back. All the bolts are out of the transmission engine mount stuff. I've got hardware loosened on the one engine mount that this thing has, because the other two are on the transmission itself. I don't know if I need to support the transmission. If I do, I'm gonna have to figure something out. Just shove some wood under there. I'll go grab my little tiny jack. Thank you. Yeah, it's hitting the door. So, making sure I'm like missing the AC compressor that's kind of hanging out down there. We did it, folks. So I just missed all that, but basically heated up these flex plate bolts, and that worked. Now I was able to get those off because I kind of want this flex plate off, just because it's going to make it easier, and I don't want to be using fire where I'm going to stick this engine when I rebuild it. And there they all go. I went and bought these bolts from Ace Hardware just now, and they are expensive. pick this whole sucker up. Stick it on the engine stand. Just like that. Engine on an engine stand, ready to be torn down, so we can see what kind of carnage is on the inside of this. And I'm thinking about building this engine in an interesting place, because you've seen it done outdoors, you've seen it done in vehicles laying on the side, you've seen it done in a shop before. I don't think anybody's done a video like I'm about to do next weekend, so you'll have to wait until next Friday, Saturday, I don't know. Just watch out for the next video. Anyways, see you later. If that's an 18 millimeter, that'll make me happy. It's not. I'm not happy. Leaning over this part. What is that? Front.